Today on Let It Rip Weekend.
That's enough. Put down the mic.
We're talking about the interaction that led to CNN reporter Jim Acosta having his White House press credentials pulled. Who was in the right? Also, can the relationship between the president and the media be repaired? We're taking a closer look at how they treat each other. Let It Rip Weekend starts right now.
Time to let it rip. I'm Marielle Liu.
And I'm Charlie Langton. All right, let's get to the guests right now. She is the Director of Media Diversity at Wayne State University in the Department of Journalism. Please welcome Alicia Nails. And next to her, the voice of the common man for the common man, always opinionated and always conservative. Welcome back, Tyrone X of WAAM Talk 1600. Next to him, the Columbia Journalism Review called him one of the most hated men in Detroit.
Whoa.
He writes the Motor City Muckraker. He's been known for asking some very controversial questions in the past. Steve Niebling is back with us today. And from Detroit, he's questioned presidents and governors and mayors for 910 AM Superstation. He's received honors for doing so as well. Andre Ash is with us. Okay, I want to talk about President Trump, the media. It was a big week for both this week. But first, let's take a look at the interaction between President Trump and CNN's Jim Acosta that kind of led to his credentials being pulled. Take a look.
I think you should let me run the country. You run CNN.
All right.
And if you did it well, your ratings
Let me
would be
ask,
much better.
if I may ask one other question, Mr. President, if I may ask
Peter,
one
go
other
ahead.
question, are you worried?
That's enough. That's enough.
Mr. President, I was going to ask one of the other folks.
That's enough.
Pardon me, ma'am. Mr. President,
That's enough.
Mr. President, I had one other
Peter,
question,
let's
if
go.
I may ask, on the Russia investigation. Are you concerned that you may have
I'm not concerned
indictments-
about anything with
that you
the
may have
Russian
indictments coming
investigation
down?
because it's a hoax.
Are you-
That's enough. Put down the mic.
Mr. President, are you worried about indictments coming down in this event?
CNN should be ashamed of itself having you working for them. You are a rude, terrible person. You shouldn't be working for CNN. Working for them. You are.
All right.
Yikes.
Whoa, how about that? All right, let's start off with Professor Alicia Nails. You saw the video. It's been played quite a bit. Do you think that the president was in the wrong for kind of scolding Mr. Acosta, or did he go over the line with the continuing of those questions?
President Trump starts off over the line. He has created a poisonous atmosphere for information gathering and for information gatherers. He rarely has press conferences. And when he does, you can't judge a question, what I'm going to answer this one, I'm not going to answer that one. I cannot imagine a previous president, and I'm not even just speaking about Obama, treating the press the way that he does. He's childish, he's rude, it's embarrassing.
Tyrone X, I'm assuming you don't agree with that necessarily.
No, I don't agree at all. Jim Acosta's not even a journalist. He's a hack with an agenda. And the thing there that you saw right there before your very eyes was he stood up pontificating. He was trying to bloviate and really seriously embarrass the president with the string of things where he's accusatory. That's not what journalism's about. Journalism is about who, what, where, and when. And yanking his credentials, I would have taken him outside and kicked his. But the thing is this, I think they should yank the That's why we elected this guy, by the way, because he talks like that.
Hold on, wait, everyone, Steve Neely, but when the president says that's enough, shouldn't the reporter have said stop?
This guy has lied 5,000 times since he became president. That's Washington Post found that was verified by fact checkers that he has an average of 6 to 7 lies.
Who are the fact checkers, by the way? Left-wing hacks.
Hold on, Steve,
That's where you get it, where you every time, it's very, very nice for people like you to say every time that there's something mentioned that Trump did wrong is to call it fake.
What did he do wrong, by the way? When he's bringing us back to America first.
Here's what Acosta did.
What is he doing wrong?
He's asking a question about the Russia investigation. Sessions was just, the Trump just got rid of Sessions, right? So now we have an attorney general, and he puts in his place a loyalist, a Trump loyalist. That's a very serious question.
Right.
No, a law and order lawyer. A law and order lawyer.
It's
not a loyalist.
He shuts it off. He says it's fake news. The ratings are down.
Right.
It's childish. It's profane. And to say that there needs
It's
to be some
wonderful.
decorum
We
here.
finally have a president who talks like a
Andre.
man.
I seem to have a different perspective here, and not letting Trump off the hook here. But Jim Acosta, while he may have conducted great reporting in his career, how this played out, his actions during this press conference, to me was a bit unprofessional.
Way unprofessional.
Look. He started off his questioning in his first remarks when he was addressed is talking about, I want to challenge you on the whole conversation of invasion, referring to the migrant immigrants, the caravan as invaders. And, he said, I want to challenge you. I mean, what is this, a debate? This is not a debate. Ask your question. He was even allowed two questions and a statement. And then when the president was ready to move on, he continuously stood up and did not allow for the White House intern, who was only doing her job, to take the microphone.
And he pushed her.
So at the end of the day, he did not smoothly allow for the next question to be asked. And look, at the end of the day, this is a White House event. And you have to...
At the end of the day, that's how the media finally dealt with Richard Nixon. By shutting up, everybody shut up and let one person handle this and push this forward. It is our job to get to truth. Right. And the good news is that none of the professional media or journalist organizations agree.
Your job these days is to push
he asked that question. Yeah, the agenda is the emperor has no clothes.
No, the agenda
is the emperor has no clothes.
We hate Donald Trump.
And it's time.
We hate Donald Trump. That's what the agenda is.
The agenda is that anti-Semitic attacks are up 57%. The agenda is we have a man in the White House who has no problem with accelerating the most base part of America.
Okay. If Donald Trump were not president, if he had not even run, Oprah, Maxine Waters, Jordan. Wait, hang on a second. Just hang on.
By the way,
hear this out. This is important. What I'm saying is everybody on the left would want to be at his party Christmas in the Trump Tower.
Because he wouldn't be dangerous.
No,
he's in the White House.
Both. The thing is you don't like him having an American point of view. That's what it is.
It's not American.
Oh, it's way American.
And I want to ask this one to Andre.
And that's scary.
Excuse me. I'm going to ask this one to Andre because you said that Jim Acosta said, I challenge you to this and that. So is your problem the word choice? And as a journalist, have you been told how to ask a question? Was the way that he asked the question what was offensive?
The way he asked the question. I mean, if you were going to be a journalist there to try to retrieve information, perhaps the better way he should have asked the question was, well, President, why do you feel that the migrant caravan is an invasion, instead of trying to challenge him on the definition of what an invasion is? And secondly, at the end of the day, this is a White House event. So, no matter what your
event,
it's still hosted.
Right.
But at the end of the day here, I believe that no matter what your view of Acosta's view of the president may be, you still have to respect the office of the presidency and the institution for which it is.
Who sits up and calls people, who calls people names? Who's a name caller?
While Trump may go low, that doesn't mean we have to go there with him.
The emperor has no clothes, and we need to stop acting like he does.
That's the mantra. He goes low. He's not going low.
We have an obligation as reporters to get to the truth. We cannot. When he dodges questions, we get tough.
Right.
They haven't been tough enough. Right. Tough and getting tougher. Right. Because this is serious. This is the president of the United States lies 5,000 times already, and we are just going to let him go at it and challenge him.
There may be more to this. On Friday, President Trump followed up on the suspension of Acosta's credentials. Listen to what the president said.
As far as I'm concerned, I haven't made that decision, but it could be others also. When you're in the White House, this is a very
issue as to whether or not to suspend credentials of other journalists.
Go for it, Trump.
Why? Why?
Because they're not journalists. They're not journalists.
If you are
a journalist is who, what, where, how, and when.
Right.
That's it. It's not. Is this an invasion,
and a
sir?
president is.
Let me ask you this, because I'm curious about this. I like you, right? We talk all the time.
I like you too.
When you come here, you are all
Let's
about.
do dinner.
We should American pride, and well, it's one of them. American pride, right? And what the country stands for. I hear you talk about that all the time when you come here. Why is it okay with you for the president to then start pulling credentials of journalists violating the First Amendment?
I think you should pull the White House press corps all together, and they should just issue statements, and then they can report around what is going on. This is not a right for the press to come in there and accuse accuse and accuse.
But it is, and these journalists have been.
Look how they've abused Sarah Huckabee Sanders,
understand
man.
the law. There's a
Because she's a
1977
liar.
precedent that says you cannot remove, without due process, a reporter from the press room. That press
The White
room
House does not have the luxury of picking
They
who
abuse
asks questions
Sarah
and who
Sanders
works in the White House.
unbelievably
She's a
so.
liar.
She's a liar. They
Tokyo
ought to.
Rose is a liar.
Oh my God! See, this is what you're up
No,
against.
no,
the
she's a
mantra.
documented liar.
Hey,
She's a
you
documented
haven't
liar.
said rape and racism yet. Come on, let's go. That's the next one you got in your
What does
bag.
that mean, though?
Deflect.
The presidents are rapists.
Won't go
they're
for
racist.
it. Won't go for it.
It's all
I don't
BS.
understand. I don't understand what that means.
All right,
I don't
isn't
either.
it-
Well, I don't either, but the
It
left
means
likes
he
to throw it
wants
out.
me to
That's
holler
what
in
the
the screen.
no, that's
Nobody
what the
said
left
that
throws
today.
out.
Keep it today.
But
Nobody
right.
said that.
That's all the left
But
has.
when press
Is name call.
They won't.
That's
Hold on.
it. It's
But
never
when
based on
press
substance.
credentials
Got it.
are being threatened, though, doesn't that create a chilling effect on speech and how a reporter can do his or her job?
You
It's
don't
straight out of
need
the
these guys in the
authoritarian
press corps to get
playbook.
information.
That's straightly
Because we have Twitter.
You don't need these guys in the press corps. You don't need them. That's a luxury
what
that's
their
even
job is.
there.
We're enshrined in the First
You'd
Amendment.
be okay with
No,
it?
the First
You'd be
Amendment's
okay
great.
knowing
Oh my
what the most
God, you have the
powerful
right
man
to
in
say
the
anything
world
you
is
want.
doing?
I think the
You're
press
okay
is
with that?
the
One at a
press
time.
the press is
He doesn't have
tasked
to
is
stand in
tasked
front of a
with
Wait.
bunch
asking
of
the press
gaggle
is
Everyone, hold
reporters
on.
to get that
The
information.
press is tasked with asking tough questions, and I believe that it is going a bit
Yeah.
overboard. I do agree with that.
Asking questions,
No, it's
not
going
making
over.
statements.
It's going overboard for the president to start, excluding members of the press from the media room and asking those questions. That's going a bit overboard. But I do believe that, for Jim Acosta in this instance here, I think he was trying to make a name for himself. He was allowing.
This didn't happen in a vacuum.
He
But
made
at the same,
himself
it didn't happen
at the
in
same
a
time, he was trying to become more the news than actually reporting.
It didn't
made
happen in a
himself the
vacuum. This is a
news.
man who rarely gives
Oh,
press
please.
conferences, who rarely gives press briefings.
Most of the reporters would just sit there and they lay down. Like,
Didn't happen in a vacuum.
I mean, this is
They
crazy.
wait their
Jim Costa
turn.
did
They wait
his
their
job
turn
because
until
he
they're
couldn't
called
get
on.
an answer, and the American
Steve,
people
what would you have
deserve the
done?
answer.
What would you have done in this situation?
I would have kept going. I would have kept going until I got an answer, because that's what the American people deserve, especially when you have a
Was it
president
wrong
that's
for
so
President Trump to take
excessively
the
left.
microphone out of Jim Acosta's hand?
I think it was
Why
wrong
would
to
you
try to
send
take
a
it out
young
of his
girl,
hand. Why
to do something
Why
like
would you
that?
do that? That was
Come on.
that was
That was a
obvious.
cowardly move.
Right.
Bone
All right,
spurs.
hold that thought right there. Don't forget, share your thoughts by using the hashtag #LetItRip on Facebook and Twitter. You may very well see your comments at the end of the show.
All right, coming up after the break, we will talk about how President Donald Trump addresses female reporters. We'll be right back. Alicia, Theron, Steve, and Andre. Let's get right to this. I want to show you this interview from Yamiche from the PBS NewsHour and her interaction with the president.
On the campaign trail, you called yourself a nationalist. Some people saw that as emboldening white nationalists. Now people are also
I don't
saying
know why you'd
that
say
the
that. It's such a racist
There are
question.
some people that say that now the Republican Party is seen as supporting white nationalists
Oh, I
because
don't
of your
believe
rhetoric.
that. I don't
What do you
believe
make of that?
I don't believe it. I don't know. Why do I have my highest poll numbers?
Who should set the tone, the president or the press corps? If the argument is that Jim Acosta was rude and disrespectful to the president, Yamiche certainly did not seem to be disrespecting the president. Is the problem if he doesn't like the question that she's asking?
Absolutely.
Andre, start with you.
I think it is. I think no matter what the race is, or the gender, President Trump has a problem with the questions that he feel are that. Criticism. He has a problem with criticism and tough questions.
Is that okay?
It is not okay for any United States president. And so what we see here is not a display of, it's a display of just outright annoyance, if you will, from any question that's a criticism of him and his administration. And I think it crosses all gender and racial lines, no matter who's asking the question.
But are the questions being asked, are they slanted perhaps some way to maybe suggest an answer, perhaps?
What this gentleman just said here, I want to push back a little bit. Yeah, he does slap pretty hard. In fact, he doesn't slap, he throat punches. We like that. That's why we elected him.
We don't.
He swats away.
We don't.
He doesn't go along with the
swats
old,
away from answering
the old
questions.
presidential stereotype.
Yeah.
No,
This is
he's
a
real
cartoon
president.
character in the White House with his finger on the nuclear button. So that's a problem.
And there's
I love it.
And there's people who are going to be be sending pipe bombs because of the language he uses.
Yes.
And we have a guy here who thinks he hasn't done
It's fun
anything
for
wrong.
him.
I mean, this is silly.
The pipe bombs were set up.
Professor,
This question came on the heels of him saying of Charlottesville that there are good people on both sides. Who says that during a national tragedy when bodies are laying in the streets because some nut job has driven a car into a crowd of protesters? Who makes the kinds of comments that he makes and doesn't have the empathy? Yes, he ended up going to the site of the synagogue where many of the people didn't want him to come, by the way. He ended up going there, but there's no empathy, there's no sympathy. The emperor has no clothes. He has no sympathy, no empathy. He's not a normal person.
All right, let's take a look. One other thing. Let's take a look. On Friday, the president had this interaction with CNN correspondent Abby Phillips when she asked about the Mueller investigation.
Do you want him to rein in Robert Mueller?
What a stupid question that is. What a stupid question. But I watch you a lot. You ask a lot of stupid questions.
So, Steve, if the president doesn't like a question, now you've been kicked out of press conferences before for asking, I don't know about stupid questions, but if the president says that's a stupid question to one of your questions, what would you do in this situation?
I would continue to ask it, or maybe ask it in a way that he could understand it. But here's the thing: he doesn't. There's no stupid questions. The question is stupid because he doesn't like where the answer may go to, and that's the problem. When you're asked this Robert Mueller investigation, he says it's the greatest witch hunt in American history. Well, first of all, the greatest witch hunt in American history was when women were rounded up and killed. That was the greatest witch hunt in history. Everything with this guy is so extreme. It's the worst. It's the biggest. This guy's got a vocabulary of like maybe 12 words. But it's dangerous to let the media. It's dangerous. This is right out of the authoritarian's playbook. Is to say what the media is doing is they're the enemies of the people, and if we let them speak, then it's going to hurt our country. That gives him the ability to say whatever he wants and to have nothing questioned. He doesn't believe that climate change is man-made. 95% of scientists do. And the rest of it's fake science. I mean, here we go.
But
fake
it doesn't
science,
seem to make a difference. If people like what the president is saying and they eat it up and there's this sort of blind loyalty that whatever he's doing, we love it, we support it, then what difference does it make that this Harvard grad asked a relevant, timely question to the president in one of the few opportunities that reporters have? Yes, Tyrone, picking
all right.
you.
First of all, it's out of the Saul Alinsky playbook, and it is the left that's who? Is that what you said? Who?
No,
Saul Alinsky? Because Saul Alinsky, if you don't know who he is, that's a huge problem.
Whether it's left or right, it's not helpful.
It's out of the Saul Alinsky playbook to completely vilify, marginalize, ridicule. So whenever the president is asked about the Mueller investigation, that is a straight up slow-rolling coup through America to take down a duly elected president, and has been since day one.
Are journalists the enemy of the people?
No, of course not.
Well, I mean, that's
we want journalists
President
asking
Trump
every
would say.
question they can, but that doesn't mean a journalist gets
wait a
up and
minute.
hijacks and starts making a speech.
Well, which one is it? Which questions can they ask?
He responded to the question. She asked a question, he responded.
First of all, he's a misogynist, and he spoke to her that way because of her gender and probably her race.
If she doesn't like it, she can go someplace and ask another question. You asked me a stupid question.
The president also has the tradition of not answering a lot of questions. He deflects many times. But in this incident with Jim Acosta, at the end of the day, him continuing to stand and now allowing for the smooth transition of the next question.
Let's not keep relitigating one moment at a time, an isolated moment in time.
But it also plays to Trump's base of the media at times not being fair, being.
I agree with you on that.
Is the public getting good information? If we turn on Fox News, we're going to get a slant. If we turn on CNBC, we're going to get a slant. Is there some truth? Where do we get the actual truth?
Lou Dobbs on the Fox Business Channel. He's the only one that gives you straight up reporting.
Do you think journalists have a slant when they report anyway?
Nobody else is doing it.
I think right now that the level of paranoia, the level of what we're seeing is not normal, and I think until we call it that and be careful. So if people are going to one extreme or another, we have an extreme sideshow.
Where does it end?
We have a sideshow going on in the White House.
Hold that thought. Are journalists fair? Can we get some objective journalism? Hold that thought. We're coming back. Your questions.
You alone.
Your questions when we come back. Okay, now it is time for you to be part of the discussion.
All right, here is the first question. There are so many who are so rude and disrespectful. Why not disinvite them? Would you invite people like that into your home? Being there is a privilege, not a right. Steve?
This is not just the president's home. This is the public's home. There is a constitutional right for reporters to go to these press conferences and ask questions. There's a 1977 case that will show that they cannot even get rid of Jim Acosta's ability to be there without at least having some due process.
All right, let's take one more question here. Sarita writes, the press is intended to be an instrument to maintain transparency and question our government on our behalf. This administration is criminalizing constitutional rights. They wrote.
Absolutely wrong. You're not criminalizing anything. As a matter of fact, the president is pushing back against those that are hijacking constitutional rights, like the Second Amendment and the First Amendment, with hate speech, which is BS.
I love hate speech in quotes, by the way.
Yeah,
I've never seen hate speech.
Emphasize it.
Wow. Acosta asked a question. It was answered. He should report the answer, not his opinions. He continued to defy a presidential order on live television. Alicia?
Oh, now it's a presidential order. Seriously? This man has created a sideshow so that we won't look at the real issues, like what's going on internationally. And he avoids, he's a con artist. And that's what we see at work.
And crazy, right?
All right, one
Without
more here.
doubt.
Yeah.
Get mad at me, I don't care. But never in my 60 years on this earth have I ever seen a president as rude and obnoxious as this one. Are you a leader? Act like one. Andre.
You know, I got to say that just because the press is tasked with asking tough questions, but just because Trump may go low doesn't mean we have to travel that road with him. You know, we still have to maintain some level of professionalism, and journalism is important now more than ever, and we have to keep at it asking those tough questions. But just because Trump is going low, we still have to respect the office of the presidency and the institution for which it is.
Andre, Steve, Theron, Alicia, thanks so much.
Thank you.
A lot more to come on this one.
Yes, that is all the time we have today for Let It Rip.
That's it.
Remember, you can head over to fox2detroit.com for the news of the day. Thank you for watching.
Bye now.